Well, good morning, everyone. It's Monday, January 2nd, 2023. Wow, here we are, Ballcap Bible Study. I hope you're ready for a great year. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. We're still in our category of the doctrine of humbling, and that's a very important doctrine. It's not as depressing as it sounds. We'll see some of that here in a minute. Let me start with some announcements, and I promise this will be much shorter than last week. Let me first apologize. I do not ever intend to go over 10 or 15 minutes, and I went 20 something minutes last time. I'm so sorry. I'll make this shorter and briefer. Today we're coming from the dining room. I'll show you some of my art collection. You can see up there's one. There's one over there. There's some there. There's a real pretty one over here. There it is. That's a real nice painting. Anyway, not only am I an artist, but I like to collect art. These are all originals. So I'm kind of fond of originals. I'm very rarely will I get a print for a lot of reasons, but that's my own personal thing. So this is the dining room. You can see the little tall boy behind me, high boy, whatever you call it. But anyway, 2023. Let's start with some announcements. Goodness, in the last 10 days, we've lost 5 people. We've lost Jim Hawkins. That service was last Thursday. We lost Mike Ruffle. That service was last Wednesday. We've lost our oldest lady, Diana Hoffman's mama, May Welburn, 103 years old in November. I went to her birthday party, and that was wonderful. And just less than 2 months ago, she was able to blow out her own candles. She looked so good. I didn't see this coming. Pam Calvert, many of you knew her. We lost her, and then we lost Shirley Magdalena. So just, pray for these families. We have a lot of things coming up. This is 2023. The week between Christmas and New Year's is kind of a dead week for everybody, all businesses, all entities. And we were certainly, running on a skeleton crew. That's kind of funny, dead week, skeleton crew. Anyway, it's just a slow week. And when you have the holidays on Sunday, that makes an interesting dynamic for like the Christmas Eve service and the Christmas service and all those kinds of things. So anyway, just pray hard in 2023. I sure would like 2023 to be better than 2022, just like I want every year to be better than last year. I kind of have a personal motto: don't let good enough keep you from great, and don't settle for just a mediocre 2023. So we'll talk about some things like resolutions and stuff here in a minute. Other announcements coming up this Sunday, the 8th, we'll be starting our winter Bible study. That'll run Sunday through Wednesday, the 8th through the 12th, I believe that is. And then the next week is when we really start kicking things off. We'll have Pray for the Nation on the 17th. I don't know if you've watched some things going on TV, but we need to pray for this nation and pray for the world. On the 18th, we'll start our early bird special study of the Bible. So it's definitely a Bible study, but we'll be going through the Bible, every book, 66 books. So it'll take us a while and realize that we don't meet every Wednesday. Some Wednesdays we don't have Wednesday evening activities, and we won't do it on that. So it's going to take us like a year and a half to go through 66 books. And we're going to start with an overview. So it'll be at least 67 study weeks, an overview of the whole Bible. And these are just, introductory type of things to get you familiar. We certainly can't, get a deep dive into every book in just 45 minutes or an hour a week. So that's coming. And then the next day for all you guys, Coffee at Quail happens. And then I think the Saturday before that is men's prayer breakfast. I think that's the second Saturday. So what would that be? Something like the 12th or somewhere in there, whatever that Saturday is. So just keep your eyes open, watch announcements, keep watching these videos. Okay, let's get into the doctrine of humbling so I can keep my promise and not go too long today. The doctrine of humbling, it's what we need to understand is that God is humbling the people we're reading about, but through that, it humbles us. And we certainly go through situations and things that humble us, either things we do that we have to learn from. It's kind of like the old guy that said, you know, he was asked, what's your key to success? You seem to, everything you touch turns to gold. You make all these good decisions. And he said, well, my good decisions come from experience, and my experience comes from bad decisions. So that's kind of what the doctrine of humbling is about. So I've got some stuff I'll read here in a minute, but I wanted to start off with, 2023, every time there's a new year, people make resolutions. Our youngest son has made some New Year's resolutions, and he's challenged us to make some resolutions. And I have a few I'm working on, some mostly self-improvement things. Don't let good enough keep you from great. I want to improve myself. I want to get better. I want to be, a better husband, a better father, a better pastor, a better servant leader for you guys, all that kind of stuff. Things around our home, I want to improve home improvement stuff. I'm working on things, but a resolution is like a promise that you make to yourself, or this you're resolved, you're going to do this, or you're going to stop doing that kind of thing. And it's almost like a covenant. And when we look at some of the covenants in the Bible, that may be the next study we do is covenants. But there's the covenant with Adam, the covenant with Noah, the covenant with Abraham, the covenant with Moses, and they're given fancy names in seminary, like Mosaic covenant and all that stuff. But the point is, today we're going to look at the covenant with Noah. And it's like a covenant, is a promise from God, an agreement, kind of like a resolution, New Year's resolution you make with yourself. But you think, well, how is a covenant humbling? Well, when we stop and think about this covenant with Noah, the Noahic covenant, I'm going to read to you, and then you've heard these verses. This is out of Genesis chapter 9. It says, starting with verse 8, then God said to Noah and his sons with him, behold, I now establish my covenant with you and your descendants after you. Well, that would include us. And with every living creature that was with you, the birds, the livestock, every beast of the earth, every living thing that came out of the ark. And I established my covenant with you. Never again will all life be cut off by the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, this is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come. That's all the way down to us. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I form the clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and every living creature of every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life. And whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature and every thing that is on the earth. So God said to Noah, this is the sign of the covenant that I've established between me and every creature of the earth. Okay. If God looks at the rainbow and remembers his promise, his covenant that he made with Noah and all the subsequent generations, shouldn't we? Shouldn't we look at the rainbow and be reminded and remember that covenant and that promise, that resolution? God has resolved not to do that again. And that should be extremely humbling for so many reasons. I could go on and on. I could make this last 20 or 30 minutes just talking about how humbling. Here's the thing. It should be humbling because it is a sign. It's a reminder that there is this supreme being. There is this God, all powerful, but it's also humbling because it reminds us of what caused God to destroy it. It's kind of like the potter that just smashes the clay and has to start back over, because it didn't live up to what. So, and that's on us. That's not on God. We made it. I mean, the Bible literally says God repented that he made mankind. That's humbling. That's why the rainbow is in the clouds, because God repented over his creation. He was sorry because we're sorry. Sin. So I've got some things here that I put on my phone, some notes I was just meditating over, and just some things I want to share with you. But this doctrine of humbling, and when you see, especially when you see the rainbow, and when you see, you realize what God did. Oh my goodness. That rainbow is humbling to me because it's a reminder of what God did, of what he can do, and yet the restraint that he shows, right? He'll never destroy us again like that. Now, will things happen down the road, end times, all that kind of stuff? Yes. And we're going to bring that upon ourselves. But here's some things I want to share with you just about the doctrine of humbling. Just like the reason the rainbow's in the sky, all things, it demonstrates God's power through his sovereignty, how sovereign he is, his sovereignty, his majesty is on display. It's like his wings are outstretched. But also demonstrates his provision through our supplication. Supplication is one of those big words that a lot of people confuse with, it's we're begging God to supply our needs. That's what supplication means. But he's the provider. It's his provision is demonstrated through our supplication. And that doctrine of humbling, it breaks us. It takes us to our knees. Remember, God is opposed to the proud. He lifts up the humble. But it also is his way of perfecting us through our sorrow. So everything starts with a P and an S. Demonstrates his power through his sovereignty, demonstrates his provision through our supplication, and it demonstrates, his act of perfecting us in our sorrow. Now, I'll say this, and this is like a no-brainer, but everything God does, he does rightly. He doesn't do anything wrongly. That's just a attribute of who God is. Well, by humbling us, he rightly positions us toward him. The kind of like Jonah getting swallowed by the fish. Jonah goes, okay, I get it. I give up. Uncle. We sometimes we have to cry, uncle. Or Abba, right? But he also rightly alters our perspective about him. We walk around thinking we're all that in a bag of chips, and we're holier than thou, or we're whatever. And God humbles us, and he rightly alters our perspective about him. Kind of like the old priest was asked at the end of his career, in looking back in retrospect, what's stayed with you? What's your takeaway? What have you learned? He said, I've learned two things. There is a God, and I'm not him. But he also rightly demonstrates who he is and who we are. So not only does he alter our perspective in the relationship, he defines that relationship. We're not going to humble God. He's going to humble us. The relationship's very parental, so sometimes we have to be disciplined. We have to be humbled. We have to be put in our place. I've received a lot of tough love in my time, and I needed it and deserved it. It's not fun while you're getting it, but down the road you look back and you're grateful for it. But he also rightly defines the relationship. He rightly demonstrates who he is and who we are, but then there's also definition in that. Just because he's all powerful, he doesn't enslave us, but we do need to submit to that authority. And then he rightly creates dependence upon him. In humbling us, there should be this realization that, without God, I'm a worm. I'm nothing. I can't do this on my own. I have I have no ability that God didn't give me to start with, on and on and on, things like that. So when we look up at that rainbow, it should be very humbling. I mean, here's the thing: when Noah and his family came out of the ark, they were totally dependent upon God. I mean, they had plenty of firewood, right? They had the ark they could chip away at, but when they came out, you talk about humbling, overwhelming. Sometimes that doctrine of humbling is that sense of being overwhelmed and like there's no way, But yet God makes a way, doesn't he? He provides, and he is God, and he's with you every step of the way, and that kind of thing. So really that doctrine of humbling that really causes us to be dependent and reliant upon him is probably one of the best parts of it. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to let you go. Hopefully that wasn't a 20-minute deal. God bless. Those are the announcements. If I hear any more, we'll let you know. And this is Monday. We're observing the holiday, and I'll be back in the office tomorrow. Love you guys, and we will see you soon.